Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Lori Skinner and I'm from Hey everyone and welcome back. My name is Lori Skinner and I'm with This Crafter's Dream. Today I am going to make this beautiful card using a touch of ink celebration stamp set. I had to think for a second. This is a stamp set that if you purchase $100 worth of products, you can earn this stamp set for free, and that is only until February 28th. So hurry up and get your orders in so you can get this beautiful stamp set. You're going to want it after this project. So as you can see, I use this stamp set, and this stamp set is what's called a two-step stamp set. First, you stamp the outline, and then you stamp the interior color part. And just note that when you stamp the interior color, it is meant not to perfectly line up with the stamps, so you'll get this distorted edge to it. So it's a perfect stamp if you have shaky hands or you're just not perfect at getting everything in line yet. This is a great stamp for you because it doesn't matter. Everything turns out beautiful. So what we need to make this card, and this card is called a slimline card. It is, see right here, see how tall it is? It's 3.5 by 8.5. You just take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and you're gonna cut it off at 7 and then score it at 3.5. This front piece is 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. That way it's just the perfect frame for this card front. And if you notice, see the white frame around the edge? This isn't a layer of cardstock. This is ink. We're going to tape this off on the edges. We're going to mask it off, and we're going to use our blending brushes and some Balmy Blue ink to get this soft, muted look of the sky on the background. So here's the colors we're going to use today. We're going to use Balmy Blue, Early Espresso, Garden Green, Mango Melody, and Flirty Flamingo. Let's see, here's my card base. Okay, so to frame this card out, what I do is I utilize the grids on the sheet, the grid sheets, and I take, I bet I put it away, didn't I? Yep, let me grab it real quick. My light's falling over, sorry. Okay, so I tried doing this project, there, that's better. I tried taping it off, masking it off with washi tape. That was an epic fail for me. Washi tape is too sticky. I even tried peeling it off, you know, just super slow, and it was peeling off the edge of the papers. So I found this Post-it tape, and it has a really light tackiness to it. So it's perfect for this kind of masking. Even using the washing tape, you know, they say take it off and tap it on your jeans or your sweater or something to get rid of some of the tackiness. That didn't work for me as well. So I found this Post-it tape works really good, and you can reuse it over and over. I've made 4 cards with this so far, and it's still tacky. So it's pretty economical to use. So what I do is I tape off 2 squares around each edge, and that's why I use, instead of using a ruler, it's so much easier just to use the grid paper. And it's faster. And you can see the edges through the tape. So if it doesn't look straight, you know you can move it. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to use the new blending brushes from Stampin' Up, but they're wonderful. You know, they're like all the rest of them that you can get on the market right now. They're the same concept. They feel so scrumptious. I told my husband I'd love a pair of sweats made out of the bristles. They're just so soft. Okay, let's see. That, this side looks a little high. Whoops, sorry, forgot to tape down my paper. I always hit my grid paper and it sends it flying, and then everything is crooked. Excuse my head if it gets in the video while I line this up. I found that is the hardest thing for making videos, is when you're stamping something, you kind of need to get over it to try to see it. Okay, so here is our brushes. Can you see the bristles? They're super soft. I keep one brush for, like this is for all the blues. This one is for all my reds. And I just take, when I'm done with it, I just put a little warm soapy water in my hand and I work the soap down in there, and then I rinse it off until no more water comes out. Just note that if you need to use it for another project right away, it does take a long time for these to dry. So if you need, if you're doing like a pink and then a red, make sure you do the lightest color first and then rub it on your grid paper till no more ink comes off, and then go on to the next color. But otherwise, they're really good. Okay, so here's our Balmy Blue ink. Oops, I almost grabbed my red one. So you just swirl it around on here. So you pick up a little bit of ink. And you just, for better control, I always put my finger down here. I just seem to be able to put the color where I want it. See, there I go, moving it. And you're going for more of a mottled look to it. I don't want a solid blue. I want it to look like the natural sky. Let's see. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Now, all we need, so now we peel this off. See, it just peels right off. And I just put them back together like this, so they're all held at the top. And I just stick them aside, and then I can reuse them when I need them. Okay, so see, here's our paper, and that doesn't look pretty. And you have a nice even border around the edge. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is, I like to start at the top and work my way down. Oh, looks like my line was a little crooked. Oh well, you won't notice it. Like I was saying, I start at the top and work my way down so I don't smudge the ink as I'm going up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp the leaves at the top. So we're going to stamp the outline of all these images on this card. I'm using the Early Espresso for. Stamp one. Oh, I'm forgetting my stamp pad. I use these smaller grid sheets all the time for projects. That way I just don't have this big paper that I slide everywhere. And people ask me where I can get them. You can get these are the grid sheets that are for the Stamparatus, and this is the black pad that comes within the Stamparatus. So I use this a lot when I'm making videos because it's smaller. Oops, I want to put that back on my... So for the second limb, because I want to make it look like this extends, I just take my finger, wipe whatever, and wipe it off where it is. There we go. Wipe that off. And then I just I extend it off so it looks like it's just continues on. See? Looks like one big branch. Now for the interior of the leaf. Since some of these leaves are popped up to give the tree a little more movement. The stamps on the bottom, you know, the first level, I did full strength ink. The second set of leaves, I stamped off. So you get a lighter tonal value. That's one way to extend your inks. If you don't have a lot of inks, you can get lighter and darker shades by using one color. If you need an even darker shade and you have a Stamparatus, you could put your stamp in the Stamparatus and ink it up and stamp and then keep inking it until you get a darker color, and then that way you'll have a medium light and a super dark color. Okay, so we are going to stamp the interiors. Turn it. So see what I mean? It doesn't quite line up, but it doesn't matter. I like these kind of stamp sets. You don't have to be too precise. Clean my stamps. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to stamp the flowers at the bottom. And for the flowers, let me put away, well, I'm going to need the green, so I'll put that up there. Okay, so for the flowers, I took this flower stamp and I stamped one way up here, and then since I'm adding some on top, I popped them up with dimensionals. It kind of covers up where they blend or where they overlap. So I just stamped them, and then I randomly went in with small green leaves to make it more look like a bush instead of just weird flowers that I just stamped. So this first one is kind of up off the edge. Oops, sorry. Kick the box underneath my desk. Always make sure you got enough ink on your stamps. Let's see. There. Then we'll fill one in the middle. See how it's starting to look a little messy? It won't in a minute. Okay. I'll put that green away before I put my hand in it. Okay, so for the flowers, we're going to use Flirty Flamingo. Hey, I usually flub that name up. It's a tongue twister for me. So I did the same thing on the flowers. The flowers that are raised up are darker and some of the background ones are lighter. So for the lighter image, I just stamped off first. And I forgot to stamp the extra ones. For these ones that are popped up, I stamped some flowers on a scrap piece of paper and then fussy cut out the pieces. I know you guys don't like hearing that word, but sometimes it is an evil necessity. Stamp that one off. Okay, where is my scrap paper? There it is. Let me stamp. So I need three of the flowers, extra flowers. And I just need the big flower. See what I mean? How it doesn't quite cover. It kind of goes out of the lines. It's perfectly fine to do that. Now we need one set of leaves. Like I said, I promise, I won't make you watch me fussy cut them all. I'll show you how I do it, and I cut some out ahead of time. So see, stamped off. Get that lighter image. See, it's just slightly different. Closest pink. I've laid my elbow in an ink pad a time or two. Okay, okay, so the next thing, we're going to stamp. Let me set that aside until we get to the butterfly. So now we need to stamp the little leaf on the inside. So there's this little individual leaf, if you can see it. And I just add some leaves. Just randomly put them so it just gives the image that it's a bush. One more right here. Okay, so now the interior, it's just a little blob. It kind of looks like an egg, if you think about it. And I did the same thing with this leaf, is I went through and I randomly stamped some at full ink strength. And then I added some that I stamped off. Just to give the card that extra layer of dimension. Oh, one more. That one I'll do full strength since it's over it. There we go. And the next thing we need to do is the butterfly. So let me stamp my extra one first before I forget. And I found after doing this project, I don't have enough of these blocks. I keep having to move things around. Okay, let's stamp our butterfly on the extra paper. Let's stamp it on beautiful card. Okay. So I am making this little dude look like a monarch since we are here in California. Not quite. The inside. I'm using the Mango Melody for the butterfly. Okay. All right, the last step to the butterfly is, where is it? We need, let me close the mango. We need to stamp the spots on the butterflies. So we have, the stamp came with all these little spots. You can make a background with it, but it's perfect for the butterfly spots. Okay, and the last item to stamp is the sentiment. And I have things, so you know something? Where did the stamp set go? What other sentiments are here? How about thinking of you? I think for this one I'm going to do thinking of you. I think I'm going to send this to my business development team leader for Stampin' Up. I love Miss Shelby. She helps keep me on track for my business. Okay, so you can use the grids to help you kind of line stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my dog, and I just heard UPS pull up. He goes crazy for UPS. Excuse my head for a second because I can't see where I'm stamping. Okay. There we go. I like that, thinking of you. Okay, now for your guys' least favorite part, fussy cutting. So when you fussy cut, like I said, I'm gonna just show you a little bit because I have a bunch already cut. For me, I have to cut everything out, just in hunks. And what I do is, I'm right-handed, so I hold my scissors in my right hand. With my left hand, as I hold my scissors straight, I manipulate the paper around. And that way you get a better, it's easier to rotate your paper and you get a better cut. When you're having to move the scissors, it's a lot harder to get a nice edge. But by doing it this way, you can, see, you get a nicer edge. And I just cut around the outside edge of the leaves. Here, I'll do another one real quick. See, you just use your hand and rotate the paper around. You can go a lot faster this way too than you can with if you move your cutting hand around with the paper. This is just much faster. Faster and cleaner way. See, there you go. Okay, so like I said, I have a bunch already cut. And I can move this once I'm done with the stamping. So what I did is, all these are popped up with dimensionals. See, when you pop them up, it kind of hides that hot mess in the middle. Okay, and the butterfly, I use just two mini dimensionals. And can you see? They're just two dimensionals and they're right at the edge right here. That way, after the Crystal Effects dries, and make sure you let it dry. I'm not sure how many hours it takes, but usually when I do a project with Crystal Effects, I just set it aside and I just let it dry overnight. So after it dries, I curl the butterfly leaves so it looks like he has two sets of wings. So for those, I use the mini dimensionals. And like I said, I just use two right at the edge. Okay, and now the last part is the leaves. card is so pretty. My grandmother used to grow flowers at her house. She had a beautiful climbing yellow rose bush that climbed along the fence. It was just so pretty. And this kind of made me, even though it's pink, it made me think of her rose bushes for some reason. Now this last one, see how it's like that? I'm just going to put dimensional right at the edge. Put it on and flip over and cut the excess off. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so before you do the crystal effects, you want to make sure your card is completely done. So here's our card base and my bone folder. For this card, we put I love dimensionals. I use them all the time. Now line this up. These ones are a little trickier to get centered just because it's so much longer than we're used to. Okay. So there. It's pretty just as it is, right? But we're going to add a little bling to it as well. So let me add some rhinestones to the flowers. You can use your take your pick tool, but sometimes when they're little itty bitty things like this, I found you just barely open up your paper snips, and it's kind of like a spatula. You just shove them, use your hand, your fingernail to shove them on. Works pretty good. This one needs something too. I think down there needs one. Oops, slippery sucker. There, that's better. Okay, so we have our rhinestones. So now the last step is our shimmery crystal effects. This was in the June to December mini catalog. I still want to call it the holiday mini. This is crystal effects that has, when you put it on, it's kind of cloudy, but it dries clear. I'm not sure, you can kind of see the shiny on the butterfly wings. You can see a little bit of sparkle in it. It's not a lot, which is nice. But this crystal effect, if you have issues with your hands and they're not really strong, you probably don't want to use this product because it does take a little bit of effort to squeeze the crystal effects out of the bottle. But it just has a beautiful effect. But like I said, you need to make sure you let it dry overnight. Otherwise, as soon as you touch it, and if it's damp, you'll leave your fingerprint in the crystal effects, and it's not a pretty sight. Ask me how I know that one. I've done it a few times. So, like I was saying before I got sidetracked, the shimmery crystal effects was in the June to December mini catalog, and it carried over. So this stuff is still available to get. So let's see, let me start up here. So what do? You just squeeze them out and just start spreading it along in the area that you want. And I did not put this in every section of the butterfly wings. I kind of picked every other and did it. And you just use the tip to spread it around. It's easy to work with. And it just gives an extra layer of dimension to this, or depth. Helps make that butterfly stand out even more. I'll have the, in the description of the video over on YouTube will be a list of all the products I used for this project, and in it it'll have the item number for the crystal effects if you want to add it to your arsenal of crafting tools. I just like the fact that it has a little bit of shimmer to it. And I'm getting low. See how I'm using the edge to move it around? And every once in a while you'll get like a bubble in it. If you just take the pointy tip of your take your pick tool and just pop it, it'll come right off, but make sure you clean off the edge with a damp cloth. Otherwise you'll have a glop on it. There you go. Isn't that a beautiful card? Here's the one that I showed you before, the finished one. I think it turned out so pretty. I love this card. Can you see all the sparkles? So pretty. This is my favorite one I've done. Every time I have a new favorite. That's what's so great about crafting. You always find new stuff to do. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this card. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a nice little comment. Even if you didn't like it, that's fine. Leave me a comment. Tell me how I could have done better. Okay? Well, I guess that's it. I was trying to think. There's something I'm supposed to be telling you guys, and I cannot remember what it is. That's all right. I'll figure it out and tell you next time. Okay, until next time. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Bye.